The state of PLR. That's what we're talking about today on Index Card Insights. I want to welcome you guys to episode 42, I believe, episode 42 on Index Card Insights here. And we're getting into it today. So with that being said, let's go ahead. Let's talk about the state of PLR. Let me just say this, first of all, about Index Card Insights. This is episode 42. We've been going since episode 100. As you guys probably know, if you listen to the show, we are counting down. And I'm in my garage right now, so if I sound a little echoey, that's the reason why. But we're counting down from episode 100. We're episode 42, so we're about around 60 episodes in. And you might find me moving the format around a little bit, changing the format, for different reasons, different things, just to keep it interesting, to make it not so stale. I think at this point in the show, you start to tend to grind through it and just kind of push out the remaining episodes and just get through it. It starts to feel like a little bit like a chore. I don't want Index Card Insights to be a chore. I want it to be fun and interesting. Fun for me and interesting for me. Fun for you and interesting for you as well. So I think that means, shooting from the hip a little bit more, not being quite so structured all the time, and just kind of playing with the format a little bit. So that's what you might see me doing. Now that being said, let's talk about the state of PLR. Let me start this with a little bit of a story. Recently here, I bought some PLR, as I do. I buy PLR. I'm not just the seller of internet marketing products. I'm also a buyer of internet marketing products. I don't know many people who aren't a buyer and a seller of this stuff. So I bought some PLR recently, and there was a little disclaimer on it. It was a pack of special reports. There was a little disclaimer on them saying, some of this was written by artificial intelligence for research purposes or whatever, And I was like, okay, well, that's interesting. Some of this special report was written by AI for research purposes. Not something that was on the sales page, by the way. It wasn't on the sales page that those special reports were written by AI, which I think it should have been, right? Probably should have been. Anyways, so I said, okay, well, how much? So I go ahead and run it through a couple of AI detectors. And my AI detectors are telling me this was pretty much 100% written by artificial intelligence, right? So what does that tell me? That tells me that I have to work really hard to process this PLR, Now, whenever I get raw PLR, there's always some processing involved, right? I always have to kind of go through it and make it my own in some way, whether it's a written PLR, whether it's videos or whatever. I have to rebrand it in some way at the very least to make it my own. So with the written stuff, these special reports, and now that I know it's 100% written by AI, I have to go through and fact check it at the very least for AI hallucinations. I have to, rewrite some of it to make sure that it's not too AI sounding. So I began the process of doing that with one of these PLRs. And what happened was I spent about 6 hours going through it and, fixing it to where it was looking the way it needed to look for me to put it out for people. Not even as something that would be a centerpiece product that I released, but just something that I could put in my membership sites, or something that I could put as a bonus or something like that. Just making it good, right? You gotta understand with this AI stuff, you gotta understand when an AI hallucinates, as they call it, that's a fancy word. That's a fancy way of saying the AI is lying now. The AI is just saying things that is just not true. This doesn't make sense. And these reports had that in there. They had the AI hallucinations. Not only that, they had redundancy. things that were said over and over again that didn't need to be there. And it was just like a lot of work to fix it, right? And it kind of got me thinking, this is the perspective of the customer, right? This is the end perspective, right? For all the efficiency that people are talking about right now with AI, what does it look like to the end user, right? Because that's what you never hear people talking about. You never hear people talking about what's this like for the end customer? What's the customer experience when they buy this kind of content, right? And I can say my personal experience wasn't very good. It was, hey, I got to spend 6 hours fixing this one thing. Now I got 4 more of them to fix because I bought 5 special reports. I got 4 more of them to fix. So that's 5 times 6. That's 30 hours that's 30 man hours of my time fixing the PLR. If I'm worth $100 an hour, then that's like $3,000 worth of my time. So like that's not very cool. I don't really like that. I mean, what's the point? Why don't I just write my own stuff, right? What's the point of buying it if I'm not saving any time? So I think like that's the end customer experience a lot of times. And the sad part to me, when I think about that, is I think customers are either going to be disappointed, like I was, or they're going to be naive about it and they're going to be unknowing. They're going to just buy it and they're not going to worry about it. But what about the people they sell it to? Because a lot of people are buying these PLR products, and they got a license. They're going to sell it to somebody else as the end user with personal use rights. They're going to sell it to someone else. That person's going to be trying to learn from it. Okay, so like if that person's trying to learn from it, they're not going to be learning right if it's full of AI hallucinations, are they? They're going to be learning a bunch of crap that's not even true half the time. It's going to be full of hallucinations. It's going to be redundant, and it's not going to serve them very well, right? So I feel like there's a little bit of a mess that's being created when it comes to, what the end user gets when it comes to this AI stuff right now. I'll give you 3 insights on it, okay? And I'm just kind of like winging it here. I did write some cards here, but the first insight I can talk about is the product, all right? I think that the end product, I think that if you're using AI, you really need to consider the end product. When you were writing your own products, when you were writing your own content, you considered the end user. You considered that your product was good, you were speaking factually, you were actually giving good information, and you were considering the end customer, right? Well, just because you have a magic button to create article after article after article for you, I don't think that there should be less accountability for the end customer, right? You should still be considering what that end user experience is going to be. That means going through everything the AI has written for you and making sure it's accurate, make sure it's written with a human-like style, and just above all, just making sure the end user experience is going to be good. I think that's getting forgotten a little bit, right? I don't like the state of the product right now, in most cases. I'm wrapping up writing my own newsletter here right now. It's called USP USIPR. It's a 14 email newsletter about USPs, and I'm just writing it all myself. I've decided I'm kind of like, as a PLR creator, I've decided it's better for me I might not be as fast as some of these other PLR creators because they use AI to create things faster, but I want to just create my own stuff, right? I just want to keep on writing my own stuff. I don't want to use AI to write my stuff. I don't like the experience as a customer. I don't think it's fair. And I guess like when I use AI to create content, I have to meticulously go through it, fact check it, make sure it's written in the right way. And that tells me, it's like I spend as much time making sure that's right as I would just writing it myself, right? So that tells me that like, if I'm a grocery store and I got the organic stuff, which is like human written content, and I got the inorganic produce, right, which is like the normal stuff that people buy that's not organic. I think, well, like, I must be like an organic produce buyer because I prefer stuff written by humans. And then, like, I spend as much time as a human vendor fixing the stuff that's written by AI. I spend so much time on it that it would be better and more satisfying for me just to write it myself. So that's kind of telling me something as a PLR vendor. And what that's telling me is, like, I shouldn't have a grocery store that sells both of those things. I should have a grocery store that just sells organics, right? So I'm kind of leaning in that direction as a product vendor, where I just want to kind of do, for human, by human content. Because I can trust that content, whether I'm writing it or whether I'm hiring someone else to write it and vetting them and making sure that they're actually writing it and it's not just written by AI. Whatever the case may be, I'm kind of moving more in that direction of written by humans for humans. And the reason why is because I think that the end user experience is better, right? Now, we might be selling the PLR to someone who's going to use that content on other people, but what about those other people they're using that content on? We want those people to have a good experience, right? And I don't know that they're getting a good experience with all the drivel that I'm seeing coming out of the AI generated content. So the second thing I want to talk about is the hype. All right, the hype. When it comes to the hype of PLR, or when it comes to the hype of AI right now, the hype is real, man. People love AI right now, especially. I do think it's somewhat of a bubble. I think that the hype surrounding AI is a little bit like, you could use anything. Adult coloring books, for example. Like, if you go back to like 2015, 2016, there was a giant hype around adult coloring books. Then that hype died down, but there's still a dedicated following for adult coloring books. There's still money to be made in that niche, right? Well, I think that with AI, I think that, like, it's in a bubble right now. I think the hype will die down, but it's still going to be a part of our lives. It's too useful to not be a part of our lives. AI is going to be with us. It's going to be all around us. But as far as, like, the hype of it, and as far as people just being, like, obsessed with AI, I think that's going to die down. I think there's going to be a bubble that pops a little bit with AI. And, that's what I believe. So I think the hype is driving a lot of this. People want AI to be the answer. You know what I mean? They want it to be the answer. People want AI to be the answer. But, like, for me personally, when I look at, like, the PLR that I buy as a customer and it's written by AI, it's not the answer. Like, that's not good enough for me. It's not really good enough to give my customers. I have to put a lot of work into it to get it to where it's good enough. So it's not the answer. No matter what the hype says, I mean, people want to like it because it saves them time, it saves them effort, it saves them energy. They can push an easy button and get it done. I think customers want to feel like they don't have to buy PLR anymore because they can have AI write it themselves, and they can do it really, really fast. That's going to be more of a thing. Maybe some customers are like that now. Maybe they're going to be more like that. I would imagine so. I don't see why not. The more people that catch on to AI, the more they're going to want to just have it write the content for them so they don't have to buy PLR. For me right now, I don't like the end experience. The person who has to consume that end content, that experience isn't good. I just went through, like I said, 6 hours of consuming, AI generated content, and it was a freaking mess, dude. It was a mess. I had to, like, meticulously go through it, make sure it was fixed, make sure it was right, change the style, fix the discrepancies. It was a mess, dude. It was an absolute mess. So I don't think the end user experience is great. So I believe that people are going to fall out of love with AI a little bit. I know people keep on saying, like, hey, it's going to get better. The technology is going to catch up. Yeah, maybe it's going to catch up. Maybe it's not going to catch up. I don't really know. I don't really care. All I know is that in 2023, the end user experience is not great. You can't trust AI to not lie. You can't trust it to not hallucinate, which means you have to go through every single piece of it meticulously to make sure there's no bull BS in there, right? So again, when I say my second insight is there's a lot of hype around it right now. You guys know how hype is. It's not always real. You know, sometimes it's somewhat real, but it's a lot of hype. So, you know, I think the hype's going to die down and we're going to be left with a true measure of the usefulness of AI once the hype has died down. So that's what my second insight on it. My third insight on it is the positioning of PLR vendors. You know, PLR vendors have always, since I've been in this business, the positioning has always been, hey, let me write the content so you don't have to. I'm an expert on this subject. I can write about it. I'm a good writer. I can write it. I can make the videos. I can do everything. And you don't have to. I'll save you a bunch of time. Well, that can't be the positioning anymore going forward with PLR sellers if you want to survive, because AI is promising the same thing. All right. I think the positioning for PLR sellers needs to move in this direction of, hey, here's some of the problems with AI, and this is why you should still hire me to do it. Because I write it better, I make the videos better, it's better, it's more convincing. At the end of the day, you're going to get better results with human written PLR, right? That's the positioning now. The positioning can't be, I'm going to make your life easier. Now the positioning has to be, hey, I'm going to do a better job than that thing, right? There's a big quality difference. It's not like, hey, you should eat fruits and vegetables anymore because they're good for you. Now it's, hey, you should eat organic fruits and vegetables because they don't have pesticides all over them, right? So there's a shift in positioning that needs to happen, and I don't really see a lot of PLR sellers making that shift. What I see is a lot of PLR sellers taking advantage of AI and just like dumping out AI content on people. What I can tell you is I am going to make that shift. I don't really believe in the end result that AI is generating when it comes to just PLR content. I think AI is great. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that it's not a good tool to use, because it is. There's a lot of uses for it. I'm actually going to be giving a talk later on tonight about uses on AI to my. I did a 5-week AI email marketing challenge. And one of the things I did was I sold a 12-week VIP updates lounge. And this is week 11 I'm going to be doing tonight. And we're going to be talking about all the updates and AI and stuff like that. So don't think I'm coming at you as someone who's uneducated on AI and I don't know what I'm talking about. Nothing could be further from the case. I know a lot about AI. I've been hot and heavy into it for months now. Well, really, I've been following this stuff since like 2021. But anyways, the point is, I know what I'm talking about, but I also know, I try to see it from all sides. I'm a realist, and I love the speed and efficiency. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love that I can go over to like ChatGPT, or I can go over to one of these AIs and I can say, hey, what are some good topics that I can talk about when it comes to internet marketing? And like, it'll spit me out some topics, and I'll pick one and I'll say, okay, this is really good. Can you give me an outline for a special report about this subject? And then it'll spit out the outline. And then I can take the outline and I can go piece by piece of the outline and I can have it write every single part of the special report. I love that. That's amazing. And I can have the whole special report written in like an hour. That's amazing. Who doesn't love that? That's awesome. The problem is, like, I don't know when it's lying. I don't know when it's being redundant. I don't know when it's saying things that just clearly do not make any sense. And I have to go through that special report piece by piece and meticulously make sure none of that stuff's happening. And then on top of that, I know that everything that comes out of the AI is going to be derivative, right? It's not going to talk about anything new. It's only going to talk about things that already exist. So everything's going to be derivative. So if I want that special report to have any kind of like selling power, any kind of unique selling proposition, I'm going to have to come up with that creativity myself. I'm going to have to insert the creativity into it, right? So these are the downsides of using AI. And I think that a marriage between AI and humans does exist. But I think many times humans are too lazy to do it. They're too lazy to deal with it. And I'm at the point myself where I feel like when it comes to writing PLR, it's like easier for me just to write it myself. Like I'd rather just write it myself. That way when it gets ran through AI detectors, it's 100% human written. It's got all the style. Everything's factual. Everything's exactly the way I want it. And I can be happy with what the end user is going to receive. And when they buy my PLR, and I know they're going to use it on other people, I can be happy that those other people are actually getting good information. I can be happy about that. And I think that's part of it for me. When it comes to defining success and what is success, like to me, part of that is walking away at the end of the day feeling like I did a good job today helping other people. That's part of it for me. If I have AI write a special report for me in an hour, and then I don't fact check it, I don't go through it meticulously and make sure it's actually accurate, and I just dump it on people, and then they're going to dump it on other people. And at the end of the day, I know that federal regulations say you can't copyright anything that AI wrote, right? And I know that. So I have no business even giving people a PLR license on it because it's essentially public domain content. Which all AI content right now is essentially public domain. Like, you don't have to take my word for it. You can go look it up. People are out there selling AI stuff. Like, it's all public domain stuff. You can take any AI-generated image on the internet right now. You can use it for whatever you want. Nobody can copyright that stuff. Maybe those regulations change in the future, but that's the current state. So to me, like, I just don't feel comfortable as a PLR seller really getting into it. I'd rather just do it the way I've been doing it, even though it's slower than what everybody else around me is doing it, because I feel like I'm just going to get, better results. I feel like I'm going to be more happy with the end results. So that's how I feel. I've been putting out a newsletter every single month. A lot of them lately, I've been putting them out exclusively for my ECIC Discounts Club because I'm trying to build up membership in the club. But this month I'm going to be putting out USP Usurpers publicly. I'm going to be launching that somewhere, either on Warrior Plus or I'll launch it on Gumroad or something. I just wanted to talk to you guys for a minute about the state of PLR and AI and all this stuff. And I got to tell you right now, I really think people need to be considering the end user experience. I don't think the end user experience is great at all. I think it's been sacrificed in the name of speed and efficiency. And I don't think it's good. I think it's really bad. So anyways, that's all I got. Hope this has been helpful to you in some way, shape, or form. If you like what you've heard, be sure to get over to epicconversions.com. Check out my free report. It's called 12 Secrets, all written by me. No AI involved. And also, you're going to get a giveaway license on this, all right? It comes with the report, a giveaway license, all right? If you don't like what you heard today, I thank you for listening this long, and I will see you in the next episode of Index Card Insight.